Russia said, it's not going to happen. We knew we had the gun pointed at our heads.
Turn back. Shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States.
Kennedy had made it very clear in a televised address that if a missile comes from Cuba, we will react as if it had come from Moscow. So if those missiles had come from Cuba, we would have sent nuclear missiles to the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union would have responded back. And so it would have been worldwide annihilation.
Historians believe the diplomatic skills of President John F. Kennedy, coincidentally our first and only Catholic president, prevented a catastrophic nuclear exchange. Since the 1980s, communism has retreated, and today relations between the U.S. and Russia have softened considerably. Most historians attribute this cooperation to the fall of the Soviet Union. But devout Catholics give some of the credit to one of their most beloved pontiffs, Pope John Paul II, and his deep personal link to Lucia and the third secret of Fatima.
Pope John Paul saw himself in that particular secret.
As one of the Vatican's most important figures since the 1960s, the Pope may have known the third secret for decades. But only upon its momentous revelation did his connection to it finally become clear. Lucia's recollection of the third secret continued.
A bishop dressed in white, we had the impression that it was the Holy Father. The Holy Father passed through a big city, half in ruins. Having reached the top of the mountain, he and all the other religious figures are slain by bursts of bullets and arrows.
To many, this portion of the third secret describes the events of May 13, 1981, exactly 64 years after the Virgin Mary's reported first appearance in Fatima. 20,000 devotees lined St. Peter's Square for the papal address. Suddenly, shots rang out as a gunman attempted to take the life of Pope John Paul II.
As he was recuperating for about 3 weeks, he asked for all of the documentation on Fatima to be brought to him.
This attempted assassination provoked the Holy Father to re-examine the third secret. And it occurred to him that this secret was about him, and that it was fulfilled with this attempted assassination.
He said, according to that apparition, I would have died, but I came to the threshold of death and the Blessed Mother prevented me. And he said that Our Lady guided that bullet all through him. The bullet missed major organs in the body of the Holy Father by just fractions and fractions of an inch.
A second attempt on the Pope's life came a year later during a visit to, of all places, Fatima, Portugal. A Catholic priest tried to stab the Pope with a bayonet, but was thwarted by security. Soon after the second assassination attempt, John Paul decided it was time to properly consecrate Russia.
He wrote a letter to all the bishops, including the Orthodox bishops, inviting them to join him for the consecration of the world, including Russia, to the Immaculate Heart of Mary.
On March 25, 1984, over 50 years after Lucia first appealed to the Catholic Church, the Vatican granted consecration to Russia.
And Sister Lucia said, yes, Holy Father, heaven has accepted the consecration. And then many things took place after that that were so wonderful. Gorbachev comes into power, he has a change of heart, and he decides that he wants to go and visit the Pope.
Mikhail Gorbachev, with a KGB background, the most powerful communist dictator in the world, his heart was softened. His intellect was enlightened. He saw truth.
Some experts disagree that the collapse of the former Soviet Union was divine intervention. They say instead it was Russia's strategy of self-preservation and survival in a rapidly changing world.
The Soviet Union had been a stagnant country and a stagnant economy for about 20 years when Gorbachev finally got in power. The economy was failing. I mean, people waiting in line hours just for bread and for toilet paper. He wanted to bring that sense of openness and restructuring because he realized he had to. Mikhail Gorbachev didn't have a change of heart about communism. It was simply a reform that got out of hand.
Still, some suspect a higher power at work to re-establish religious practices in a region that had been oppressed for over 70 years.
Consider the most atheistic country in the world forcing atheism everywhere. Gorbachev visits the Pope, the flag comes down over communist Russia for the last time, the wall comes down, and religious freedom is again practiced in Russia, and today the spiritual resurgence in Russia is absolutely phenomenal.
Is it possible that these decisive moments, from the Cuban Missile Crisis to the Cold War, and the assassination attempts on the Pope, along with the fall of communism, are all mere coincidence? Or could they be the final fulfillment of the Fatima prophecy?
By 1989, the Berlin Wall came down without a battle. The people who put it up took it down. That's a conversion. It's a change of heart.
It ended the Cold War, and it ended that immediate threat of nuclear annihilation that had really hung over the world since the early 1950s.
Still, some maintain there is a further, darker prophecy held in the third secret, that this mystery is not yet resolved. Why do many still believe the Fatima prophecy relates to World War III? It is one of the most enduring and mysterious controversies of the Catholic Church, the prophecies of Fatima.
I think there is so much controversy and speculation because we, human beings, we want to see things clearly, and so we need to look for answers.
We're at a crossroads, and one direction will lead to world peace, and if we choose the wrong direction, it will lead to wars so terrible that nations will be annihilated.
The first secret foretold souls burning in hell. The second secret warned of a devastating war. Believers say both of these seem to have been realized as World War I and World War II. But some say the third prophecy remains unfulfilled. If so, what hidden truths might lie in the Vatican vault?
There are still some people, some groups who deny that the full text has been revealed and that the Vatican has kept something hidden.
The Vatican released what they said was the third secret on June 26, 2000. And it can't be the third secret. A person who got a chance to look at the third secret said that the third secret is about 20 to 25 lines. The Vatican's version of the third secret of Fatima is 62 lines. The Vatican's version of their third secret doesn't contain any signature at the end of that by Sister Lucia. And all the letters we know of, the authentic ones from Sister Lucia, have her signature at the end.
There are those who believe this supposedly still hidden part of the third secret contains a prophecy of future annihilation, perhaps a nuclear exchange. But most Vatican supporters are satisfied that the Church has adequately revealed the words of Sister Lucia's apparition of the Virgin Mary.
Thinking that the third secret has not been revealed in its entirety is sensationalism. The third secret's been revealed in its entirety because the Vatican has Lucia's original written in Portuguese. You know, and you go on the internet and find it.
Pope John Paul II said the message was given. The present Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, said the whole message has been given. Sister Lucia, I understand from people who knew her, was very upset when people said the whole message was not given.
On February 13th, 2005, after a lifetime satisfying what she believed were the Blessed Mother's wishes to spread the message of Fatima, Sister Lucia died of natural causes at the age of 97. 2 months later, Pope John Paul II, aged 84, also died. Today, the Vatican continues to uphold its belief in the events that took place in Fatima in 1917.
Pope Benedict XVI wrote a complete, comprehensive explanation of Fatima. The apparitions have the approval of the Church. All of the prophecies have come true.